Alright, I was going to do an event recap and just mention this fight amongst all of the other ones, but I need to make an individual video to describe to you how impressive Robert Whittaker's win over Marvin Vettori was in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Paris Gane versus Tuivasa. This was basically like another main event on the card. I was just as excited for this one as I was for the main event. Of course, the main event delivered way more, but Robert Whittaker is amazing at fighting, and I need to make a whole video reacting to that performance against Marvin Vettori because no one has ever done that to Marvin Vettori. And you can mention Adesanya after every Whittaker win all you want. No one, including Adesanya, does that to Marvin Vettori. Adesanya will play at range and stick his fingers in the eyes and leg kick at range here and there and stuff a couple of takedowns and land a couple of punches in the clinch and stuff like that. But no one has backed up Marvin Vettori and just stuck him like that. Paulo Costa, in some moments, backed up Marvin Vettori. But to be honest with you, most of the time it was Marvin Vettori pressuring Paulo Costa in their fight. Robert Whittaker had the perfect game plan of dialing down the volume that he threw and focusing on power punches that were significant enough to stop the pressure of Marvin Vettori. You heard it all week long. Marvin Vettori talking about how his pressure was going to be too much for Robert Whittaker. He was going to put too much pressure on him, and Whittaker wasn't going to be able to take it. And Whittaker perfectly took down the volume, put more power in his shots, and got respect from Marvin Vettori. The first round was close. Vittori may have landed a couple of shots more, but I had Robert Whittaker winning that round based on landing the better shots on Marvin Vettori. He had a couple of shots that snapped the head back of Vittori. He stomped his knee. He leg kicked him a couple of times better than Vittori leg kicked him. So I thought on the quality of shots, round 1 can go to Robert Whittaker, but it was close. But round 2 and 3, my God, Whittaker absolutely changed his game plan. Not changed his game plan, but just activated his game plan. He took a round 1 of feeling out Marvin Vettori, seeing what Vittori's game plan was going to be, seeing what shots Vittori was looking for. And then once he got that information in round 1, round 2 and 3, it was like Vittori wasn't even a contender at middleweight. He was just a tough guy that could take a shot, because even Marvin Vettori, who is so delusional when he loses fights, enough to think that he won the Adesanya rematch and even to think that he won the first fight as well. He said on the mic afterwards, I saw an Italian guy translate it, he's just so good, man, I couldn't do anything. And I'm sorry to the Italian fans. Like, he's just a top-level fighter. And even said to Herzog was like looking over and saying, hey, man, head up, man, and all this type of stuff. And he said, he's just so fucking good. Like, I think Vittori was even in disbelief. Same with Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum, who again had a razor-close fight with Israel Adesanya until that 5th round. Even Kelvin Gastelum said afterwards, I've never felt like that before. I felt like I was in there with something I just couldn't. I've never felt so bad at MMA before. I was truly outmatched, and I've never felt that before in my entire career. That's what Kelvin said after the Whittaker fight. And I'm seeing Whittaker. This was his first title defense. He beat Adesanya in the rematch. This is my champion. Okay, I'm not going to do that. My president, and all this type of stuff that we're doing, but he was my champion. Okay? My champion of the middleweight division is Robert Whittaker, and I don't care what belt goes where. I don't care who has a belt around their waist. He is my champion of middleweight. He puts on way better fights than Israel Adesanya. He fights guys that Adesanya fought and beats them better than Adesanya did. His Cannonier fight was better and he won that one, although he did get rocked at one moment. Israel Adesanya never dropped Cannonier with a head kick. Style bender. Whittaker's dropping him with a head kick, not you. Okay? Schooled Vittori. Adesanya has a snooze fest against him for 5 rounds. Then we've got the fight against Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum almost wins against Adesanya, lands head kicks on him, and Whittaker schools Gastelum and makes him rethink his life before he steps back in the octagon. Okay? Whittaker said it best when Bisping tried to say, outside of the champion, because no one can just see what they should be seeing, rounds 2, 4, and 5, Robert Whittaker against Israel Adesanya in their rematch. This guy's the best middleweight on earth. I truly believe that, and he's younger than Israel Adesanya as well. I'm saying things that I know so many people out there are going to love to hear from someone. because no one's saying this. He's the best middleweight on earth. And forget Covington not being on the pound-for-pound list. Get Figueiredo off. Get Moreno off. Get Aljo off. Get whoever else is on there off. Whittaker should be way up the pound-for-pound list. I'm sick of these champions being called top pound-for-pound guys, but the people they've beaten that are still doing good after losses to them aren't even on the list. How are they top of the pound-for-pound list? Poirier stays up there. Holloway stays up there. All your big pay-per-view stars stay up there on the pound-for-pound list, even when they lose. And that justifies Volk being number one, because Holloway is high up on the pound-for-pound list. Whittaker was a former champ, and he's had better legacy after being a champion than while he was a champion. And that's saying something, because he beat Jacare Romero, Brunson, Tavares, Uriah Hall on the way up. This guy's next level. Get Moreno off the pound-for-pound list. Get Jan off. Get Miocic. Well, Miocic can stay. But, you know what I'm saying. Why is this guy not on there? There's no way you can tell me that Brandon Moreno has better legacy than Robert Whittaker. That's a joke. Or Jan. Forget him. Jan and Moreno should be replaced with Covington and Whittaker. Whittaker at number 14, Covington at number 15. Whittaker is so good. He's my champion of middleweight because he beat Adesanya in the rematch, and he's a much better fighter to watch anyway. And in my opinion, getting better. Getting better. And I don't know if Adesanya's getting better. This is the problem. I don't really know if he's getting better because he never shows it. He always just does barely enough to win. We haven't seen a recent performance like Whittaker's against Gastelum or Whittaker's against Vittori tonight from Adesanya recently. We just haven't seen it. So I'm going to assume until then, Whittaker beats Adesanya in the trilogy. That's what I'm going to assume. He looked amazing. Head kicks, big shots, big right hands down the pipe on Marvin Vettori. He was catching him with a check hook a bunch of times as well and rocking Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori, respect. I don't know what your chin is made of, but I have no doubt in my mind if you go back in Marvin Vettori's ancestry, his ancestor was the centurion at the fucking tip of the spear of the Roman legion phalanx. You know what I'm saying? Like, they looked at, where's Vittori? We need Vittori at the front of the phalanx. You know what I mean? Like, they were looking around for soldiers back in those days, and they needed Mr. Vittori. You know what I mean? The first of his name. To be at the front of the phalanx and take the brunt of the fucking barbarian rocks that they were throwing at him or whatever. Marvin Vettori is a G, and he took amazing punishment. And round one, he did okay. But he doesn't have the IQ and the championship mindset that Whittaker does. The champion of the middleweight division makes another defense of his world title. Absolutely amazing performance. And he's not injured. And he wants to get back in there. And he's still hungry for more. And I'm telling you this right now. If he wants to move to light heavyweight and he wants to try that out, I think he beats Anthony Smith. I think he could beat a lot of guys at light heavyweight. Maybe not the top level guys because it's a 20-pound jump and it's difficult. But I think he beats Anthony Smith. So if he wants to fight at light heavyweight in the meantime, let's say I'm incorrect and Pereira doesn't beat Adesanya and Adesanya remains champ and they don't want to do the trilogy yet, then he beats Anthony Smith at light heavyweight. Dip up there, get some legacy up there, brother Whittaker. Okay? We're all rooting for you. Beats Anthony Smith, yes or no? Then you can... who else are you going to fight? Paulo Costa? After Paulo Costa's last fight, Whittaker schools Paulo Costa. And I have no doubt in my mind that that would happen as well. After Paulo Costa's last fight against Luke Rockhold, call it brushing off the cobwebs and all this and all that, all you want. Whittaker schools Paulo Costa. I truly believe that. And I really believe that as well. And I don't even think that... I used to think, maybe Whittaker's power's not that much. But when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, no, he's trying to stay safe. And he has a championship mindset when he was champ. And he was being patient and fighting on the back foot quite a bit. But Whittaker today showed me his boxing's got to a certain level where his confidence is so high to roll under shots and keep his guard up and not get hit clean, that he's now got power for opponents to worry about. Vittori was backed up with a busted nose and a shattered eye or whatever it was, blood dripping down from his cheek, like panicking. I don't see that from Vittori. Against Adesanya, he was coming forward the whole time. Against Paulo Costa, he was coming forward the majority of the time until he got hit with something enough to where he had to back up. But Whittaker stood his ground and backed up Vittori and had Vittori like panic shooting a bit and trying to get something going, but getting his knee stomped out and head kicks coming up here and there and big straight right hands rocking him backwards and getting stumbled by some head kicks but recovering himself. Like, amazing performance. And I knew this would get a little bit overshadowed, but it shouldn't be. Whittaker had such a good performance. Such a good performance. I'm just going to check the stats of the performance right now just to back up. 74-33 in significant strikes. 25-10 in round 2. 27-9. 3-to-1 ratio in a top contenders fight in round 3. 22-14 in round 1. So maybe I was wrong. It wasn't even that close. Whittaker clearly should have won round 1, and I was right to suggest that. One judge gave it to Vittori, though. It was a pretty competitive round compared to the other two. And in the takedown in round 3, the timing, he fake entried, paused, double entried again after the initial fake and blasted a double leg and got Vittori down. And then when Vittori was getting back up, big uppercut to the face of Vittori as he got back up. He landed head kicks. He started turning him into knees as well as Vittori started ducking down, and he caught Vittori with a knee on the top of his forehead at one point as well. Absolutely amazing performance, man. He's the middleweight champ. Successful first title defense. And I don't care, man. I'm done playing this game of, oh, but you know, he doesn't have the belt though. No, man, we were in this era of the Ngannou Gane decision. 49-46 gets chucked in. Like, what's going on? Usman Covington 2, 49-46 gets chucked into that decision as well. What's going on? Adesanya Whittaker 2, 49-46 gets chucked in for Adesanya on that decision. I'm done. I'm done with those decisions. Usman's lost to Leon, but with Adesanya, I swear he lost to Whittaker in that fight. I've watched it so many times, and the Weasels broke it down frame by frame and analysing every single shot that was landed, and it shows the Whittaker won, as I thought when I watched it live. And if you don't think he won on the stand-up, he got the takedowns to change that round in his favour. That's the score of MMA. That's how you score MMA. Whittaker won rounds 2, 4, and 5. He's getting better. I think he wins the trilogy. Whittaker's my guy. Amazing performance. Wasn't crazy action-packed because of how one-sided it was, but man, really, really good performance by Robert Whittaker. And Vittori, man, back of the queue. Back of the queue. I don't know what he's going to do next. He could consider a Darren Till matchup in February. I know Darren Till's going to want to stay active, though, so I doubt he's going to want that matchup, to be honest with you. But if Vittori doesn't take on Darren Till, it's just going to be tougher matchups down the line for him. If I was Marvin Vettori, I would DM Andre Muniz and say, hey, Andre Muniz, because this is a great matchup for Marvin Vettori. Hey, Andre Muniz, I'm going to be out for a bit, but I promise you, I'm number 3 in the division right now. Maybe number 4 by the time it adjusts because of his loss to Whittaker. I'm number 4 in the division right now. You're number 10. If you wait out for a bit, I'll 100% fight you when I come back. And I think he definitely does beat Andre Muniz because his takedown defense is still really, really good, and his ability to get back up is good as well. And I think if Uriah Hall can turn it around the moments and land some ground and pound shots, Vittori can do that and one better. And he's tougher than Uriah, so he won't get rocked on the feet. But yeah, amazing performance by Whittaker again. No surprise there. Absolutely amazing. His hands looked better than ever. His boxing is the massively improved part of his game since the first Adesanya fight. And I said that, and it's being proven every fight with the Gastelum one, with the Adesanya rematch where he out-jabbed Adesanya with a 6-inch reach disadvantage for 5 rounds, and with this performance as well. Amazing across the board. Well done, Whittaker. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.